Finally got down there. He's like, there it is. It's broken. I'm like, oh, congratulations. It's only like 4:00 in the afternoon now. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell I'm standing in this hole. Nobody can even see me. Like, if you were in the street at my house, you wouldn't even be able to see me in the yard digging. I was far down.
And welcome everyone to episode 46 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Michael, Anthony, and Steven. Hey, Guy.
Hey, Guy. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well tonight. So a little quick note before we get started tonight. I'm sure everyone's heard of the tragedies out in western Kentucky with all the horrifying tornadoes that hit.
I mean, this is just one of those things that we were talking, before we decided to have some bourbon and talk tonight, and we were thinking about how the magnitude of this. So I got family all over the place. I'm not a native Kentuckian, and my wife has family all the way in India, and got family in Ohio, Texas, all over the place. And we were getting phone calls, text messages from everybody on Saturday morning. And in Lexington, thank God, we were pretty much spared of a lot of the bad stuff that happened.
Yeah, not much. Just I think the phone went off around 3:30.
Yeah,
for a warning, and I got it for about 45 minutes to make sure everything was okay.
Yeah, and
then I kind of went back to bed. But it was windy.
Oh yeah, it was definitely. And it was very windy. Yeah, I never seen rain hitting a house that hard. But I mean, in that moment, I was thinking to myself, like, I'm feeling so fortunate. And at that time, at 3:30, because I was up too, I had no idea of the magnitude of what had happened in Western Kentucky. We had stuff that went north of us, stuff that went south of us, and it just seemed like it was just crazy.
So we'll just let guys know that, if you can just donate like $5 to, I'm sure there's a couple. I know Kentucky Sports Radio has one. I think Fred Minnick had one.
Yeah, the Red Cross. I mean,
Red Cross,
you can do that.
$5 will go a long way, because some of these towns have been devastated and wiped off the map pretty much, and they're going to take years to rebuild. So $5 from a couple people can add up. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's something where you kind of feel helpless because you want to do all you can to help. I mean, I even saw a news story today where a guy basically drove from a neighboring town, brought his grill up and a whole bunch of food and just started grilling food and handing out water and doing what he could to help, just get people a meal. It's just stuff like that inspires you. And what little we can do, look for places that you can to go donate and stuff like that. And definitely something that would be helpful to the whole state, but that region specifically.
Yeah, I mean a lot.
Yep. So I know we like to have a lot of fun on this podcast, and so I have to tell a story of what I was doing yesterday. My parents are just north of Lexington, and we went to visit them like we often do now that they're here. We love having them here. It was kind of funny because my dad is notorious. He's such a notorious person for not wanting to trust what other people say. Like classic dad sense, right? Yeah. Is your dad like that at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to ask him, look at your face. I'm like, yeah. So my dad, and they have this patio it's not a massive patio, but it's a pretty good size. And he wanted
standard concrete pour in the back.
Yeah, standard concrete pour, but with a nice, kind of roof and everything. And so my dad's been talking about for years, but he's been talking about enclosing this patio. And so he had a couple contractors come out, different people talk to him and stuff. And this always happens with my dad. It's like he gets people to come out, they tell him what they're going to do, and then he's like, oh, I can do it myself, right? It's just what he does. He's done it his whole life. And so when he says I can do it myself, what he really means is you're going to come out and work with me. So on Sunday, I went up there and we started cutting things and getting framing ready to enclose this patio, and it was a lot of fun. It kind of reminded me of when I was 15 years old, getting screamed at in the yard when my dad tried to cut the grass. Like, you're not doing it right. I'm like, come on, Dad. I'm still your son.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. It's been a trip down memory lane that I'm excited about because at the end of the day, going up and visiting them, I'm going to benefit from that too. So I want to help get my hands in there and create something. But on the other hand, I'm kind of
because you have an area you can enclose.
That's right. Yeah. That's true. Because then if I learn, really, that can enclose the area of my house, then I'll be all set. I can have some massive parties back there, couldn't I? Yeah. My dad's the kind of guy that I'll never forget this. One Saturday morning, I had to be 14 years old, and we had this area of the yard, in the front yard, that kept flooding Like every time there was a big rain, it would just get massively like water everywhere. And so he was like, we got to fix that. So, it's Saturday morning. I'm like, I'm going to go to my friend's house. Can somebody take me to my friend's house? And he's like, because I was like 14 or 15 years old. I wasn't even driving yet. And he's like, actually, we're going to work in the yard. Can you come help me? He like hands me a shovel and we start digging. I'm like, what the heck are we doing? We're digging the yard up here. And we were going to fix like the underground drainage that goes to the street.
Oh, nice.
Most people would call like, a company to do that.
He had free labor.
Yeah, he's like, free labor. He's like, get out here and start digging up the drain tile or whatever. So I remember when we finally got down there, he's like, there it is. It's broken. I'm like, oh, congratulations. It's only like 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell I'm standing in this hole. Nobody can even see me. Like if you were in the street at my house, you wouldn't even be able to see me in the yard digging. I was far down. And so, yeah, my dad's got a history of this, and I love him, but, I mean, come on.
Well, for this week, we have a Henry MeKenna single barrel 10-year.
So Henry MeKenna Bottled-in-Bond 10-year. This is distilled by the Heaven Hill Distillery. The bottle date is 2021. The ABV is 50%. Proof is 100, and the age is 10 years because it's a 10-year Bottled-in-Bond. My goodness. Mash bill is, like you guys have heard previously from us from Heaven Hill, it's 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley. The MSRP is, well, we think it's between like $30 and $40. We're not sure, 35 maybe.
It can go anywhere. It could be anywhere with this bottle.
All over the place, but I think the official state is supposed to be around $30 to $35.
Yeah. When I've always seen this bottle, there's only one thing that comes to mind.
What is that?
Money, money, y'all.
Money, 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 money.
This thing just looks like it's just made of money. You got the 100 proof $ thing coming down from the wrap coming from the top. The Henry MeKenna is like gold and green on the front. Where it's handwritten at the bottom almost looks like the dollar bill green.
It does.
It's just this thing just screams just money.
I have to ask if Michael were here, because we're on our second straight episode now without our beloved friend Michael. Mm-hmm. What would he say about this cork? Is it a real cork?
It is real cork, but it has a plastic top on it.
And so when you're talking about money, but you're also talking about what do you think this bottle looks like? Because to me, if I saw this on the shelf and I didn't know anything about bourbon, I would say this is like from 1994, maybe 1988.
The bottle is a generic bottle. The label was small on the front and it really didn't even say anything. On the back, it gives you, one sentence about the product, and that's it. And then you have the 100 proof sticker on top. Well, it's got this big booklet on the neck.
You know how people chase dates? We've talked about that previously. I know that's one of Michael's favorite things to talk about is dates on bottles. Yeah. But I wonder if people collect the McKenna for the dates on the bottle. Do you think anybody does that?
I bet there's someone out there that doesn't matter what the bottle is.
Yeah.
If it's like their birthday or their kid's birthday,
yeah,
they're buying it. So it could be a weird collection of like Blantons and McKennas and
yeah,
and just whatever.
Well, and you're right. And here's the thing. I didn't even share this with you. My brother, who I make fun of sometimes, and I'll make fun of right now because he just goes into stores and just buys random bourbons and doesn't call me. He called me one time and said, "You're not going to believe this. There's a McKenna here and it has your birth date." Like it was like 11-something, 09 or whatever. And I was like, buy me that bourbon. And so I was so excited.
So it had your actual day on it.
It has the actual date, even though it's not my actual like birthday of like the year I was born, but it has the actual, I guess, what
month
year?
And day.
Month and day. Mm-hmm. And so he bought that for me and I was so excited that he got that. So I actually have a McKenna with my
That's
birthday.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even tried to buy it. Like the thought just doesn't come to my head for some reason.
I think you need to do that. I think you need to get something that's that. But can we look at this booklet real quick?
Go right ahead.
Okay, let's see. So this booklet is pretty thick. Gosh, there's so much information in this booklet. Basically, this is an Irishman.
Yeah, an Irishman that came over with the recipe, liked Kentucky, settled, and the rest is history.
There you go. He didn't make any scotch.
Thank God. Well, should we go for our first notes?
I like the nose. What do you think?
I'm getting ethanol right now.
Well, you're getting ethanol. Really?
Yeah.
I'm getting like a semi-sweet, sugary note that's almost like a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of peanut, a little bit of peanuts in a nose.
I'm not sure why my nose is not working.
I think we need to get you some swabs to refresh your nose. What do you think? You're usually the nosing guy.
Yeah, I mean, I can smell. It's not like my sense of smell is out, but for some reason, it's just like the ethanol is just hitting my nose, and I can't get past it.
Yeah. Well, I get some sugar, some caramel, some peanut, a little bit of oak, not a lot of oak, and also some vanilla. It's you do get a little bit of ethanol. It creeps a little bit, so I'm not going to disagree with that.
I'm glad you smell it.
That's there's something wrong with me over here.
Well, let's go ahead and go for our first taste.
So, what are you tasting there, young lady?
Well, it's got a hug.
It does have a hug.
Let's do one caveat before we explore this too much.
Okay.
We both have had our history with McKenna as far as it being single barrel product.
Oh, yeah.
This is my third bottle I've opened.
Okay.
First one was out of this world. The second one was, let's just say it was not as good as the first one.
Okay.
So far, this one has been ethanol.
Ah, so you're saying it's trending toward the bottom here. Let me see. Let me take another sip here, because I've had a similar experience to you in the sense that there are some amazing bottles of McKenna that I've had.
Right.
But there are some that I've had that are very forgettable, borderline, may not want to drink them.
I mean, I feel like there's a wide variance. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's just quality control or they're just dumping just whatever's in that warehouse. They just dump for McKenna. But it's almost like my first experience was so great.
Yeah.
That I'm always happy to try it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the second bottle wasn't, I was still positive about it. Like, oh, it's just going to be, the next one's going to be good. You know?
Yeah. I get a little bit of honey. I get a little bit of nut, like some kind of a nut flavor. But I also get a little bit of bitterness on the sides of my tongue.
I'm getting the bitterness.
Yeah, and that's like that astringency is not welcome on my palate. Get out of here. Who wants you? Get out of here, astringency. Like, I don't want to taste that.
Yeah.
I want to taste harmonious, wonderful notes. I don't want that garbage. What about the finish? Medium long?
Yeah.
Medium.
Yeah, no, medium long.
And it's not really for a 10-year-old product super dark. I mean, it's got good color to it. And the mouthfeel is kind of thin.
Right. I just can't get over like the amount of ethanol for some reason with me.
So that's really dominating.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's not that there's amazing flavors going on here. It's not that this palate is full of flavors and Steven somehow just, messed up here tonight and can't smell anything. Hopefully he's not, because that doesn't say a lot for a 10-year-old product that is,
that I know should be good.
Yeah.
That I've experienced, that you've experienced, that I know should be good. But yet here we are with another bottle that we've opened, and it's not living up to our initial quality control on it.
There you go.
Now, this is a 2021 bottle. Do you think they're rushing things or not letting things slide that shouldn't be sliding?
I'm thinking about the first time that I was in Liquor Barn looking for, something new to drink, okay? And I had the things that I thought were favorites and stuff like that. And then one day, the people that come through the aisle were like, we're talking guys like early 2000, like 13, maybe 13, 14, comes through the aisle and says, what are you looking for? And I said, I'm looking for something that's cheap but good to drink, like every bourbon drinker. And I remember he said, oh, you got to try this Henry MeKenna out. And I'm thinking there, I look at it, and it's like single barrel, Bottled-in-Bond, 10 years old. And it was maybe $22. I think that's what it cost at the time. And I said, how can I not try that? So I bought a bottle, drank it. I didn't think it was anything remarkable. I remember thinking like, okay, that'd be a good go-to for a well-aged bourbon, but nothing I'm going to buy again. And then, of course, I bought it like maybe once more after that. And then next thing, I look up, it was like $25, $30 a bottle. And then what happened?
Was it in 2017-ish time frame?
I think it was 17 to 18.
They won that was a San Francisco.
Oh yeah, the
Bourbon of the Year,
the wine and spirits competition. They won best in show or whatever for bourbon.
And at the time, I think that day I heard it on the news. I told Michael.
Yeah,
he told me he was going to go Total Wine, and I was like, "Look, get Henry MeKenna 10 year." I knew nothing about it.
Yeah,
he told me how much it was because we were a little bit more price conscious back then. And I think it was like $27. I was like, just pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
And we did, and that was a really good bottle. And then since then, you can't get it. I mean, it quickly went off the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
It got sold out everywhere. It's funny, the only time we still only see it is the monthly, Weller Special Reserve, Blanton's Eagle Rare, McKenna Drop that we get.
Yeah.
That's the only time we see it. This bottle I actually was just sitting on the shelf. They had when I went to Total Wine one day. It was just sitting there. So I was like, one of those things. They have it. I might as well pick it up.
Yeah.
And I think it was $37. And then I felt a little weird paying that much for it for some reason because I think my first bottle was like $10 cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Of course, it was like 4 years ago. I can't believe the range of price for this product.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No doubt. I mean, it's. I actually go to Ohio quite a bit because I got family there, and in Ohio, the state liquor price for McKenna, I believe, is $49.99.
Which is so funny because in Ohio they have that website.
Yeah.
And you think it would just be controlled with MSRP.
Yep.
That doesn't sound like it's controlled by MSRP.
Well, that's the thing I don't get. Like, right? Is it just that McKenna is that much now coming from Heaven Hill or what? Like, is that
what's OWA?
OWA is like 50 some. I think it's $49.99.
That's the MSRP now.
Yeah, it's just crazy because let's think about this. This product went from being a darling on the shelf for the price point. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the Heaven Hill catalog. They had at the time, in previous episodes, we reviewed Elijah Craig.
Right.
We reviewed the 6-year-old Bottled-in-Bond, the 7-year-old, and the Green Label 6-year-old. Yep. And all these barrels that they have so many barrels aging, they're all playing into similar product. And so we've watched this sort of evolve before our very eyes where Heaven Hill was offering a lot of what we consider to be premium bourbon because of the age and everything else at a lower price point. And now in the last 5 years, they've sort of turned the other way where they're trying to figure out how to make these brands more luxury. And I feel like McKenna, even though it doesn't carry, in my opinion, like a massive secondary value, its price has gone up as much as anything in the last 5 years.
What's interesting about that is all the products you've mentioned there, I believe they had the exact same mash bill as this.
Yep.
And so, as you just said, we saw the green label or the white label go off the shelf, just, I guess, try to make more product. I mean, are they rushing it?
It's possible. Yeah. It's not as much QC, not as much quality control.
They got to get out. They got to get out the door. Yep. Which is surprising, because like you said, they have some of the luxury brands.
Well, you can't get me started here because, listen, I love Heaven Hill stuff. Like, I love my old Fitzgerald. I love Elijah Craig. I love a lot of their products. But in this line, right, in the what I would call to be considered to be the value, because it's a value to get a Bottled-in-Bond 10-year-old bourbon at what we were getting it at between $20 and $30 before the won Best in Show at San Francisco is amazing.
Right.
So it's almost like Heaven Hill was like, wait a minute, we can't let people just have this for this much money. We got to make more money on this because I'm sure it didn't cost them more. It's been in the barrel for 10 years.
Right.
But they've capitalized on that, and they've been very successful to their credit of taking their brands where they've been delivering what would be value and now flipping them a little bit to make them luxury. Yeah. Like, I don't think there's anybody listening to this podcast or in the United States that would be like snatching up Henry MeKenna at $50 a bottle. I mean,
are you saying? What did you say that they wouldn't be?
They wouldn't be. They would take it. They'd be like, okay. I mean, I'm not seeing it sitting on the shelves in Ohio. I don't. You just mentioned you don't see it. You see it selling out pretty quickly here, even at $40. It's not carrying it's not like people are buying it for $50 and selling it for $100.
Yeah, but
in that range, it seems like it's selling well, and I think Heaven Hill's sort of responded to that.
Now, I'm not sure what happened with my glasses now.
Uh-oh.
But I think the ethanol's worn off.
Okay.
I think it might have been that pour.
Okay.
When we popped it.
Oh, we got secondary tasting notes. Bring it on. Bring it on.
I gotta say the tasting is still ethanol heavy. But I'm getting a lot of the brown sugar, all the notes you were saying.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm getting the nut now. Yeah, it's just, for some reason, it just took a while to wear off.
Well, I think when we tasted the younger products, do you remember when we tasted the Flight of Heaven Hill?
Yep.
I think that the harshness, in my opinion, sort of wears off with the more years in the barrel. And so I think that sometimes when we first pour it out, we're getting a little bit harshness we did when we did the Flight. But now it comes back to some good flavors and some good smells.
It's funny, though. You think that the extra 3-4 years would mellow this thing out a little bit more to where you wouldn't have to worry about the variance in the barrels that much.
Only in certain single barrels. The ones at the end of the rainbow in my pot of gold.
Let's hope they don't do a single barrel select. So, Anthony, would you pass, try, or buy on the Henry MeKenna 10-year?
You should have just said, will you be hypocritical on the Henry MeKenna 10-year? Because I have been every single one of these categories. I have been a pass when I had a bad barrel.
Yeah.
I've been a try when I've had a decent barrel, and I've been a buy 10 times when I've had a good barrel. So,
but all those times you bought just to say you were a pass or a try.
Exactly. And so I think that I'm solidly going to land on a try on this one. And the reason being is because if you do buy this, if you happen to come across Henry MeKenna and you buy it and you don't have a good bottle or a good barrel, then you're going to regret it. But if you have had the barrels that are honey barrels or probably the ones that have won the best in show at San Francisco, then how could you not buy it? Like if I could buy
that bottle every single day.
Exactly. Or if I bought that bottle and opened it in the store and tasted it and said, "Oh, this is amazing," I want to buy a case or more,
no
right?
Doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I think so. You're a try. Even though I was bad mouthing it, I still think I'm going to be a buy up to a certain point of how much I have in my own like stock.
Okay.
Like right now, I had 2 of these bottles, so we opened one. I don't think I'm going to start collecting these like cases of this stuff.
Yeah.
Just because of the the problem that we're talking about, but I think I'm always going to have like an extra bottle. So when that current one finishes, I have a second one to like land on. Now, with all that said, let's play a game.
Okay.
Let's play a game.
Sounds like what's that movie where they say let's play a game? What's it?
You talking about Squid Game?
No. I was thinking of the movie with the crazy guys. What was that, Saw? Where he's like, let's play a game.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Why am I thinking of that? Go ahead.
So,
Please go on.
Right now, we'll just say this is a $40 bottle.
Yeah.
All right. If it was between this and let's say an Eagle Rare, which one are you buying?
I was going to say Eagle Rare because I just like Buffalo Trace product, but now I'm thinking of the really good stuff I've had.
Yeah.
If it's one of the really good barrels of McKenna, I'm going to take McKenna over Eagle Rare because Eagle Rare is very one-dimensional in my opinion.
Agree. I think I'm going to do the same. Now, if this thing creeps up to 50, what are we going to compare it to? An E.H. Taylor?
Yeah, right. E.H. Taylor, like small batch that'll run. I mean, Wild Turkey, Rare Breed, even Rare Breed is up there too. We've tasted that. It was really good. I think once you get to 50, you get some stiffer competition. That's, I think, why it's fallen off a little bit because once you hit that 50 price point and you look at what else is on the shelf, you think like, yeah, do I want to take a chance if I got a good or bad barrel McKenna?
I mean, I think at 50, if you hit that honey pot bottle, it's going to be as good as anything.
Yeah, I would still hang on. I give you that because
but then it's almost like rushing to real at that point. Like,
yeah,
you don't know what's going to happen.
You're driving around town when McKenna comes in, making sure they're not all the same barrel.
What lot number did you get?
Yeah. Hey, what barrel date is that? Dump date.
Now if we go higher, if you're going to hit $60 a bottle for this thing, are you a pass?
It's interesting because there's other products I think of in that line, and I know I'm being Buffalo Trace heavy tonight, but like Blanton's is single barrel bourbon, right?
Yep.
And so we know the perils of that. There have been times, like I was down in South Carolina one time with 2 of my buddies, Kyle and Ryan, and they had a bottle of Blanton's, and for whatever reason, that bottle tasted excellent. And I know it tasted excellent because we finished it between the 3 of us, and we were all in bad shape, but
I've opened a couple of Blanton's over the years.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've had much QA problems with that.
So you're saying like
I've had a pretty consistent product, and I could have been lucky.
Yeah,
I've had a pretty consistent product over the years with that.
Yeah, and I will say this: I don't think there's as much variation in something like Blanton's as there is in McKenna, but it does seem.
I mean, they've all been good experiences.
Yeah, good experiences. Yeah. So I don't know. Once you start trending higher, like if let's be honest, if I'm standing in front of the shelf and there's a Blanton and McKenna, am I buying the Blantons or McKennas? I'm buying the Blantons. Yeah.
Or you just say screw it and you go straight for the barrel, right? We're just 3 times it. Just
there you go, right.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY. Also, let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.